You know, when you see the words Briggs & Stratton, you start thinking about small engines, lawnmowers, things like that. You really don't think about generators to run your home. Well, that's exactly what this one is. Today on the show, we're at Security Electronics and the Generator Store out here off Minge Avenue.
Fire Tower Road.
Fire Tower Road. If you go south, it's Minge, and you go north, it's Fire Tower Road. Tom Oliver, how are you? It's good to see you.
Good, you too.
And let's talk about that. There's different lines of generators, and when you start looking and shopping around, you want to get something dependable. That's why they should come to you. You know, talk about something like this to run your home. Exactly.
Right, with whole house generators, there's a lot of different options. The size, what your requirements are, even the way the generator exhausts. You may have bushes, you may not. So there's just a lot of different things to consider. You know, what kind of electrical appliances you have. If you have gas on the house, we don't have to take those appliances into consideration.
Now, you were talking about, before we started shooting, we were talking about like if you have an electric hot water heater as opposed to a gas hot water heater, it takes a little bit more to run that than it does gas. That's why, and you have to take those things into consideration whenever you are shopping for a generator.
Correct, and to use the water heater, for example, your normal electric water heater utilizes about a quarter of the capacity of the generator. And if it's gas, you don't have to figure generator capacity for running that water heater. So it saves you a lot on what you need for a generator. So we have to take all those things into consideration.
So that whenever people say, well, I'm going to run out, when it's storm season, I'm going to just run out, give you a nice portable generator or something like that. And it may not work as well as you think it does, for your home, to run your whole house. So that's when one of these bad boys comes in handy.
Your average portable generator is about 5,000 watts. That's not enough to even start your AC unit.
Wow.
But you need something much larger with more capacity for that initial startup, that initial surge.
And the Briggs & Stratton, this is a very reliable, and this is not a Briggs & Stratton type lawnmower engine in here, is it?
No, actually the engines here and the Briggs & Stratton generators are made specifically for running generators continuous, non-stop.
And one of the other things that's important too is whenever you have this, you want to have the equipment that will switch automatically from whenever your power goes out in your house, switches automatically to the generator, so you're not having to run outside, try to crank the thing.
Correct, and you don't have to run extension cords, and a lot of time, by the time you pull your portable generator out and you get it set up and started up and then the power returns, if you have an automatic generator, you have an automatic transfer switch which you run off of utility power continuously, and then when the power goes out, then it'll transfer over to generator power. Then when the utility power returns back, it'll transfer back over and it'll wait for that power outage for the next time.
Well, let's move over here and look at some of these. One of the other types of generators you carry are the Kohler. Very well-known name and very dependable, very reliable. Why would someone, is it a preference between the Briggs & Stratton and the Kohler?
There are some differences. Some people do just have a preference. Some of the different things that they do make a difference. It depends on application, what the requirements are going to be. Aluminum housing as compared to a steel housing. Air-cooled as compared to liquid-cooled. Some of the units are quieter than others. There's just a lot of things to take into consideration.
And this one, what is this thing going to run? That's a big generator.
That is a 38 kW liquid-cooled Kohler generator. Runs at 1,800 RPMs. It's very quiet. Most of the air-cooled generators run on 3,600 RPMs. The 1,800 RPM unit by itself, running at just 1,800 RPMs, it'll last twice as long just because it's only run at 1,800 RPMs instead of 3,600 RPMs.
Wow, that's a big boy. That's a big boy. Now, we got a few minutes left, so let's step over here. We got a couple of others over here. These seem to be more enclosed in type generators. What's the difference of these?
Well, this is the Cummins variety. It's a little more low profile. It doesn't stand up as high as some of the other ones. Again, the exhausts are different. there's just a lot of different considerations to take. It depends on what warranties are being offered month to month by the different manufacturers. A lot of the time that helps to make the sale on
Right.
what generator a customer is going to buy. If they're able to buy a longer term warranty, it does make a difference to the customer.
Let's talk
last
about
longer.
buying a generator. You know, a lot of people probably wait until maybe, you know, during hurricane season, there's a storm coming into the Gulf, and they just call you up and say, oh, I need, remember I talked to you a couple of years ago about a generator, can you come install it now? It doesn't quite work as easy as that, does it?
No, we stay scheduled up about 30 days in advance, and you know, when we have a storm in the Gulf and people seem to think we're going to be able to just put a generator in, if there's already a storm out there, we've just got to get you on the list. They just don't go in within a couple of days. So it's best to be prepared, and not just for the storms. In the area here, it seems like we get more and more power outages all the time.
Storms, somebody hits a power pole.
And it seems like the weather conditions are changing. It seems like they're getting worse. The water temperature's higher, and we're just getting more and more storms, more and more outages.
So it's always best to be prepared ahead of time. You know, you may get, you know, have one of these installed. It may be a year or two down the line before you actually need it. But you take comfort in knowing it's there. You don't have to worry about it. As far as maintenance plans, you've got some great maintenance plans on those as far as doing checkups and everything for them. Whenever you go, somebody calls you to go out and evaluate their home, I mean, is it free for you to come out and look it over?
We don't charge anything to come out and do a complete home assessment. If you have an existing generator, we can look at what you have and tell you if it needs any repairs up front. We can get you on annual and or a semi-annual preservation maintenance service that we offer. We do a whole lot more than just change your oil filter and make sure the generator is running.
Yeah, and so you've got different plans, and of course, as you said, you've got some, I'm sure, some great financial plans for any of these generators here, and you can find out exactly what you may need for your home or business. You know, people, you think about that. I know the big one we saw over there is for a condo down on the beach. So, you know, it doesn't have to be just for your home. You know, you might want it for a chicken coop or something like that to take care of. So I appreciate your time and the information and the insight. Now, seriously, if you, you know, living down here on the Gulf Coast area, it's something that you always want to be prepared of, especially if you've got a family, small children, or seniors. You might want to give them a call here. They're located on Fire Tower Road, just north of I-10. You take the Minge Avenue exit. Security, electronics, and the generator store. You need a generator? Come talk to them.